Hey, you don't want to miss this. I'm Derek Deese, Executive Director of Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative. We're really going to go into some deep discussion about co-parenting. Sometimes as fathers, it's new to us. We've never done it before. And sometimes the relationship has ended, but the child is still here. So we're going to talk about exploring co-parenting. What does that look like? What dynamics does that include? How can I effectively co-parent? How can I do it even though I'm not in her life anymore, but I'm in the child's life? How can I do that and be effective at it? So you don't want to miss this. You want to tune in because we're going to talk about co-parenting, the power of co-parenting, methods you can use, and real life applications. You don't want to miss that. Let's join in. Hi, I'm Derek Deese, Executive Director of Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative. I'll let everyone introduce themselves.
My name is Craig Lightfoot, Employment Developer with Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative.
My name is Daniel Blathers, Intervention Specialist, Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative.
And I'm Terrence Turner, Data Quality Manager with Man to Man Fatherhood Initiative.
We want to talk about co-parenting today. The old saying goes, when the elephant fights, it's the ground that suffers. So we want to really take a deep dive and talk about what co-parenting entails, some experiences co-parenting, tips you may be able to use to help out in your co-parenting, different parenting styles, things that you can do to help you be the best parent, whether you're in the home or you're non-custodial. So sometimes men find themselves in an odd situation. Some people would never think that they would be at odds with the ex and find themselves not being able to visit the child, not being able to spend time with the child. Because when you first meet, it's all you're in love, I'm going to be there for you, we're going to be together forever, all these things. Now you find yourself in a situation that things are not, there's trouble in paradise. So now you're not spending time with your ex, therefore it is trickled in not spending time with your child. So we really want to dive and talk about how can I effective co-parent, even when there's conflict, even when there's different things going on. So yeah, let's dive in on ways that you can co-parent, because you want to be the best father you can be, but you also want to be respectful of the mother. Let's jump in.
Yeah, when you mentioned that about all the honeymoon phase of the relationship, it brought my mind back to like, wow, you really want to be there forever, and you have this this idea of what that looks like. And then sometimes life hits you and you're like, wow, what do I do now? How did this happen? How do I make these decisions now? And I think the word co-parenting, you have to realize that you bring something to the table, right? You have value in it as well, but it also is give and take, and it's compromise as well. So that means having an honest and transparent conversation with your partner about, okay, this is what I think successful parenting looks like. What are your thoughts? And then bring those minds together. So as you putting that child first, I think you can come to that common ground, because can be chaotic, can be very toxic, but you have to make some intentional decisions to have. And as men, sometimes we are like, we can be prideful. Just to be honest, we can be prideful, but we all have blind spots.
That's right.
So, and I think one of the things that Dan used to say, like he says, like doing sessions, that the same thing and the same way that you looked at her in the beginning, now that child is there, kind of look at her that same way. If she was good enough for you to have a relationship and make a child with her, now that you're co-parenting, have that same mindset as well.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good. That's good stuff. Guys, what you think?
For me, I still go back to the point of, again, I see every child is like, once you hit that co-parenting phase, and this is something new, every child's like a business. And again, you're 50% owners of that business. It's time to invest together. Let's see what's wise to make, our investment grow. How can we make this investment long-term? And doing our part as fathers and mothers and co-parents.
So being a team player.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you kind of took the words out of my mouth. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Come on.
And so if, if one person doing the majority of the work, then it's going to show an unequal balance between the unit, right?
That's good.
And I don't want my sons to ever see, okay, mom is always doing, and dad is nothing, because I'm creating a model for him. When he's older, okay, well, this is what my dad did, and so I don't want him to be able to. I don't want to project that to my children. I believe in working as a unit, even though we're not together. I've been on Front Street many times, my son's mother had to go out of town, had to do something, and I had to step up. And this is the mindset, and this is a story I'll tell. When my son's mother was diagnosed with cancer 10 years ago, I had to step in that role. I didn't complain because I always say, mamas do it all the time. It's not hurt me to do it this one time, to take that dominant role. Cooking meals, ironing clothes. I didn't have an apron on, but I felt like I was doing it, and I didn't mind. I had to step up and be there for my kids. It was part of being a teammate. I think that's conducive for the well-being of the children.
Let me ask you a question there, because y'all alluded around this couple things. So do we parent different based upon if we have a good relationship with the child's mother? In other words, if she's my girl, am I all in then? Versus now we broke up, I've got somebody else.
Yeah.
Does the child sometimes get lost, I can say, in our drama?
To be honest, I think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. If you want to be on that,
Absolutely.
that's just like a human nature. And you have to take that honest look at yourself and be like, okay, man, because it's painful to know that, okay, it didn't work. So you're looking at something, okay, not saying that you are a failure, but I failed at this.
Oh, man.
So that's a constant reminder, like, man, what could I have done differently to make this work? But taking that focus off of yourself in that relationship and placing that on the child. Okay, what can I do now as a father to ensure that I don't fail that fathering? I may have failed at this relationship.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to fail as a father.
As a father. So let me say this, because is it possible that, out of sight, out of mind? So if I don't see her, that I won't have to deal with the pain of losing her. But every time I go on Friday to pick that child up, and I see another car in the driveway, am I trying to run from that and I'm neglecting my child because I don't want to see another car in the driveway?
Yes, sir.
Or I go in to get Junior and I see another, I don't have no Air Force One, and I see some Air Force Ones by the couch. So I run away from the ideal and my child gets lost in that. I mean, is that possible that we try to shun away from the reality that is, like the song, it's a tragedy to be to see a dream is over, Milli Vanilli. I mean, are we trying to run away from that? I mean, and because of that, if you're not with me, then I'm not with the child. Does that happen?
It happens too many times. when we first started this job and we would go to court, we saw how parents would butt heads because someone has moved on. And as a result, people neglect their responsibilities. Myself, after a breakup, I felt like I was being put in a position and I had to fight back. Not realizing at the time my sons were being caught in the middle. It was personal. I use those personal types of things to allow my consciousness to make bad decisions. And like you said, if I could go back and redo it all over again, man, because I watch some guys, when they break up, they still know that, okay, parenting is still important.
Right.
It doesn't stop. And I know I didn't do good on some things. And I tried to bring some of that experience to our clients. Just because you're not together anymore, you gotta remove yourself and remember who's important.
Child focus.
Yeah. And I think even to your point where we see people still caught up in I may want to see you be okay, but I don't want to see you doing better than me. Like you said, I never had the Air Forces. So if I see the Air Force Ones or the Jordans,
and those ain't mine.
I feel like you done upgraded, since I've been gone or however. And we're still stuck in that. And nobody's even thinking about the child at this moment. It's just the fact that I don't want to see you doing better than me. As Craig alluded, we see a lot of guys that when, families, when they come to court, the child support didn't start till he got in a new relationship. All before, he was still taking care of, his child.
But it's not always the guys.
Yeah.
sometimes it's women. If a guy moves on, she's upset and she don't want to allow, and that's how we come into play. You know, if she, you know, is upset about this guy moving on, well, you can't see the child. If a guy doesn't know the laws, what happens?
Yeah.
Goes without seeing the child.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's our role in all of this. So schematically, we are to play a pivotal role in these guys getting to see, okay, listen, man, this is what you can do. Nah, you know, I'm just going to give up. No, file for visitation.
Visitations. And you can represent yourself pro se
That's
visitation. A
right.
lot of people don't know that, even if you can't afford a lawyer. So really, in co-parenting, sometimes it takes a shift in mindset.
Absolutely.
I got to shift the way I think now. Now,
Yeah.
we're not together. You know, me and Brandy ain't together. Me and Karen ain't together. Me and Keisha ain't together. However, I still have a responsibility. So no matter who she goes on and dates or marry, sometimes it goes that way,
Right.
or who I go on and marry, I must make sure that child knows. It's the mindset is I may be divorced from the relationship, but I'm not divorced from the child.
That's good. That's good.
And we have to make sure we adapt that mindset to know that I don't want my child, because the saying goes, when the elephants fight, it's the ground that suffers.
Right.
I don't want my child or my children suffering because because sometimes it plays into the child's psychology.
Right.
Because if they see us fighting all the time, that child is going to feel like they're the blame. If I was a better child, mom and dad would still be together. Statistics shows even during divorce, sometimes the children blame themselves.
Also, it forces children to have to choose between who they support.
Wow,
And
that's
you
good.
put a child in a precarious situation when you do
Absolutely.
that. You know.
I'm glad. Let me piggyback on what Craig said. That's very important. It shows even in foster care sometimes that children, when they go to when they adapt to their new foster mother, they feel a guilt because they feel like if I love my foster parent, then I'm betraying my mother and father. So sometimes even in relationship, non-custodial parenting relationships, if little Jill says, I love daddy, then mom may feel like you love me less. Or if I love mommy so much, then so sometimes that child feel like, well, can I love both? Give your child emotional permission to love both. You may love in different ways. Even mother and father love in different ways. But but don't let the child get confused and feel as though that because mom and dad is fighting, then I must be to blame. So that child is forced to go to school and try to learn, wrestling in their mind and their own psychology, the worth and the cause of their moms and dad. I like to call it drama. So we have to make sure the children don't get lost in that.
So do you think, like, you know, when parents are together, and a lot of times you may have that little girl she's a daddy's little girl, and that child, you know, sometimes kids are attached to both parents, but I'm the daddy's little girl, or, you know, the son loves mom, but when the breakup happens, you know, there's still that yearning for my dad, but to know that you really were attached, I have to insert myself to make you love me just as much as you love dad, or now you're gonna, you know, I'm gonna be your favorite parent. You know, sometimes we see that happen. You know, as Craig and Terrence can attest, when we're at court, you may see a guy walk in and the woman is there with the children. And the child just blows up when they see their dad come down the hall, snatching them back. You know, you need to stay here with me.
And the child suffers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is very important to spend quality time with your children. And we're going to show and demonstrate some things you can do with your children while you're at home with them. How you can just take a football or a soccer ball and go outside and just kick the ball around and play with your kids. We're going to have some demonstration of that. But also it's very important for you to spend leisure time in the educational department of your children. It makes children feel so valued for a father to sit down and read books to your children, to talk to them and let them know that you are interested in them. So spending time with your children is very powerful. Join us as we go through these sessions to talk about spending time with your children, but also to demonstrate what that looks like. Matter of fact, and with that, we realize that we have non-custodial fathers. So let's get into some of the tips we can do in order for fathers to really to effective parent, even from a distance. So first thing, let's talk about how to make the most of your time. As a non-custodial father, sometimes you turn into a weekend dad, you know, or every holiday dad. How do we make the most of our time? Because we want to be there in our child's life or children's life. Let's talk about how to make the most of your time as a non-custodial father.
That's good.
For me, I know when I visit my daughter, I try to do as many things as she wants to do.
Because there's some of it's age appropriate and gender appropriate time.
So, you know, the older, you know, when she was smaller, I would suggest, hey, do you want to go here? Go to the beach, go to this playground. I'm taking you here. Now that she's getting older and kind of growing out of that and not being there every day to know her everyday likes, I have to ask her, you know, what do you want to do? And I give her the option to pick, you know, the restaurant that you like, you know, let's go shop for what you want to go shop for. Let's go to the beach if you want to go to the beach, not because I feel like that's just a good place to take you. Because
so really communicating, let the child kind of tell you, let them drive the choices.
It makes it more meaningful to the child.
Okay.
And you get a chance to learn more about what your child likes also as they're growing.
I'm glad when you were talking, I thought about some dads make the mistake of it's my Friday to get the child, and when they come pick the child up, they take the child and drop them straight to grandma's house and go do what they want to do. Wow. And then come back, pick the child up, do a little something, and drop the child back off Sunday. And it becomes a habit of, I'm going to get the child because it's my week, right? But I'm going to be with the child, but not really with the child.
That's good.
And I've seen that happen.
You know, a lot of my time was spent with my children because, and I'll say 3 because when my son's mother and I got together, Justin was 3. Justin is 29 now. Mm-hmm. So, as Chance, you know, we're always communicating through sports, and that was our time. And I brought Chance into the conversation last night because of the draft. A lot of my parenting experience came through sports, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, because one, I coached them, and that allowed me a lot of time to spend with them and you know, impart lessons on them, things that I felt like they needed to know. They spent nights with me, but I'll say the majority of our time was spent on the basketball court, the baseball diamond, or the football field. And we would go other places, man. You know, I'd take them to other arenas or the zoo. You know, I can't tell you they came to my house a lot. And to me, you know, when you break up, a lot of stuff we do is strategy.
It's good.
Oh,
you know?
Explore, dig a little bit deeper. That's deep.
Yeah, because I felt like, okay, I'll spend time on the ball field, but you got them at night. You know why? That's going to stop somebody from coming. It was personal and immature on my part. When I look at it now, I didn't want her to have no life.
Playing chess. Let me move this right here.
And she's done the same to me.
Right.
You know, if I'm dating somebody and I want to take them with me, no, they got something to do. Oh, now they got something to do? Oh, okay. You know, it was a back and forth until finally we got old enough. I said, okay, enough is enough.
So the mindset had to shift in order for you to effective parent.
Absolutely.
And I got a personal story with that one as well. I remember vividly picking up my son. I was at station at Fort Bragg, so I came home to pick him up. Everything's fine. Mother, I think we have to prepare ourselves for that person moving on.
Ooh.
If you don't prepare yourself mentally for that person moving on, you can run into all kind of problems.
Ooh.
So what happened was I picked my son up. We had an awesome day when did some things, came back. But what happened was when I went to drop him back off, her boyfriend at the time was there. I didn't know it at the time until I took him in the house and dropped him off, and then went in the house and then I saw him.
Surprise.
And in my immaturity, like Craig was saying, I felt, like they say today, I felt some kind of way. I'm like, wow.
What Debo doing here?
Okay.
So I had to get myself together, like, man, okay. The guy even spoke to me. I didn't even speak to him. I didn't acknowledge him or anything like that because I didn't prepare myself. I wasn't expecting to see that. So even though we didn't have a relationship, I mean, she was free to do what she wanted to do. I was free to do what I wanted to do. But the simple fact that he was there
In the moment.
in that moment, and I wasn't prepared for it. So I think mentally, you have to prepare yourself for that person moving on.
So you sized them up.
I did.
But you know what?
Actually, I did.
Yes, you do, because I want to know, okay, what is he going to do differently that I didn't do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, my son told me.
Is he going to try to replace me?
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, and I'm human. We all.
Yeah.
You know, my son told me one time this guy was going to buy him a little motorcycle. Man, I rant and rave about that thing. No, I don't want him to have no bike. It had nothing to do with safety.
But you came over. You need a helmet. Go too fast.
You know.
Yeah.
And the least little thing that was said, it pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was immature.
Right.
Not understanding if you do what you're supposed to do, nobody can ever replace you.
That's right. That's right.
good.
You know, but
He can be an addition too, but he won't be you.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
And I think it's key to remember we are men, right? And we are wired to be protectors.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you think somebody's invading your space or your territory,
And we mark our territory. We want to mark
absolutely.
it.
I mean, but you have to realize that that doesn't make you less of a father,
That's
like
right.
you were saying. That adds compliment to. So if you can have a relationship with her, and then even have a conversation with him, and
That's
to see
right.
what his headset is, his mindset is, and then what you bring to the table, and what he brings to the table.
That's
You're
right.
still that child's father.
That's right.
Right? He can't replace you as being that child's father. So
That's
you
right.
you have value there as well.
But do you think we on both sides of it, I'm not just going to say as the man, that sometimes we don't trust the other person enough? Because you have to think, if you think of this woman as a good mother,
Right.
you should, or this guy is a good father, that no matter who they choose, I know they will make a good choice and that person wouldn't hurt my child.
Wow, that's good.
Gotcha. And I think you can do both things. I think you can be aware of what type of man is around your child without letting jealousy cloud your mindset.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when emotions are high, logic is low.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
If your
really
emotions
good.
get so high, you will make illogical
That's
decisions,
good.
make illogical statements, and
That's
looking
true.
like, why did I do that?
Absolutely.
And was really rooted in not in intelligence, but it was rooted in emotion. Now let's go to the next one. How do we schedule and plan time? Scheduling, planning time. I mean, sometimes, and I know a lot of these things are age appropriate and gender appropriate, but how do I schedule time? Because when you break up, you're on this single, you're single again, and you're trying to have a social life. How do I have a social life, but yet plan time and schedule time for my child? Or do I make it priority? Or do I make it, well, since I ain't got nothing to do, let me go see little Junior?
I think you have to make it a priority.
Okay.
If you don't, you would neglect anything that you. I think we said that yesterday. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Gotcha.
Right. So you have to make that child your priority at the time. You have to give up something. Like in one of the sessions says, "What am I willing to give up to go up?" Is my child worth my investment of time?
Oh.
If you make the investment, guess what? You'll get the return on the investment.
Gotcha.
ROI. But you have to
Gotcha.
make the investment first.
Gotcha.
Your child is your greatest investment, but
Greatest
you have
investment.
to make that plan first. Plan it, make it your priority, and what's that do? That builds that child self-esteem.
Yeah.
They can be like, man, I get to spend time with my dad.
My dad made me his world.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to get into that for a while. You know, I've always traveled and worked on the weekends, and especially during football season. You know, I'm traveling this football game, this homecoming, this event, that event, and you know, I've always been taught growing up, you need to provide, and I want to make sure my daughter had things, she was able to do the things that she wanted to do, but then part of it became, I caught myself in at one period of time that I almost went 2 months without going to visit because everything was work.
Wow, that's good.
And I had to start managing my time in terms of saying, you know what, instead of you going here for the weekend, this Friday and Saturday, you go visit her on Friday, then go on Saturday, or you go on Friday, cut Saturday short,
Wow.
or clear Sunday.
Gotcha.
So, and then too, based on what
I like that.
my daughter may have had going on, I may have had to give up the whole weekend. Although I knew in the back of my mind it was, man, I'm gonna miss out on this $500 to $1,000. But she didn't care about the money.
Yeah.
All it was, look, I might be sitting here thinking, oh, we get ready to go shopping at the beach, and as soon as I get there, Daddy, can we go to McDonald's? and that's all she wanted to do,
Yeah.
and ride around town and go get some ice cream.
So while child support is good, the quality time is the greatest asset in co-parenting.
Absolutely.
Let's do this because let's look at the acronym of co-parenting. We're going to talk about communicate, C for communicate, O for being open-minded, P for being patient, A for affirm, R for respectful, E for enthusiastic, N for new, and T for thankful. Let's touch on those to communicate. So communication is not just communicating with the child, right?
Right.
It's communicating with the child's mother.
That's right.
How important is that? Because I think when we think about communication, we just think about, well, yeah, I'll little Johnny, little Jill, little Quisha, whatever. But how important is in co-parenting communicating with the non-custodial or the custodial parent?
Very important. But what I was going to say is going to hit on communicate and respectful at the same time.
That's fine.
Because I did a lot of stuff on the fly. In reference to spending time. If I saw an event that's happening, I would call, such and such is going on without respect for her and her time, what she had going on. Rather than, and it would be the last minute. Hey, such and such going on. I wonder if the boys want to go. There were times that she sacrificed because she knew how important it was for them to be with me. But I always had to play chess, which is not always good.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I had a willing participant, my children's mother, who saw the benefit in the children being around dad, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
So communication is important. What about being open-minded? Because we talked about your mindset has to shift and co-parenting. Being open-minded. So you said something earlier.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be prepared for them moving on.
Correct.
But also you got to be prepared for making a shift in your own life, shifting your schedule, being open-minded to the needs of that child. So how does that play, being open-minded?
And I think it goes back again to sacrificing as well. And knowing that a lot of your stuff may have to be put on the back burner to accommodate you spending time with that child.
So even that hot date you got Friday night?
Absolutely. I mean,
Or Saturday?
you may be like, hey, I know I want to go out with her, but this is the time I can spend with my child.
Wow.
So you have to give up some things. You have to take that risk, like, okay.
Or fit it into your normal schedule.
And even having that other person that you may be interested in, they need to be open-minded as well.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Letting them know and being transparent about, okay, this is what I normally do with my child at this time. Are you open, or are you willing to even, be in my life with that? Because I come with that.
Package deal.
Package deal. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I almost was going to talk about that in a different context. Being open-minded is being open to what's important, the possibilities of what could happen, the necessities of parenting. Rather than being so strategic or so vindictive, what's important.
Let me ask you something, Greg, because I think there's some material there that may help our viewers. Do we purposely sometimes, just to see whether or not anything is there, in the process of spending time with our children, we try to come up with a reason to argue with our ex just to get them to communicate with us? Like, I called your phone 3 times. Like, why you ain't answer? I drove by your house. Where you at? Wait a minute, you're supposed to just be co-parenting.
Right.
It's your week to visit, not your week to investigate my life.
Yeah.
Or we do it to the kids on visitation.
Right.
I
Who your mama talking to?
I don't know if I did that, but I think I may have some of that, like phone calls, hoping she answer, so we can kind of engage, and it kind of gives me an opportunity to kind of slide some stuff in on the low end.
Do men listen for background noise on the phone?
Oh, God.
Who was that? That was TV.
I can't with y'all.
But that's a reality. I mean, maybe not on a conscious level at all times, but subconsciously, I think that happens.
Girl, they ain't your uncle. They ain't your uncle.
Right. Listen, we all have been there, I want to believe. But we all have evolved.
Yeah.
And so for our, the clients of our program, we want to show them what are helpful strategies in dealing
And
with
being real.
Yeah.
being open-minded.
Open-minded, yeah.
How do you be open-minded to this situation?
Yeah.
Right.
You learn from your experiences.
Absolutely.
And I always tell people 3 things we do with our clients. We educate them, we encourage, and we expose them.
That's true. Yeah.
We are exposing them to our experiences.
Our experience, being transparent.
That's right.
But also, and expose them to information and strategies.
Absolutely.
To do it better.
Absolutely.
And it's funny you say that about exposing. Like a lot of times, I would tell our participants, hey, once a year, maybe twice a year, me and my daughter's mother and my we all go out to eat. And some of the guys are like, man, I wouldn't do that. But I said, that's the difference between me being here and someone being here in the co-parenting scheme of things.
That's good.
In terms of communication, we communicate on things, have a plan of what's for my daughter. If she's gonna dance, this is how much it's gonna cost.
That's good.
We're responsible for 50-50. This is where we're gonna do it at. She's gonna engage in this activity. So those are the things that we have to be a part of and engage in communication to know what's going on with our children. Like if his son was playing football and went through the whole season and he didn't know anything about the game, you would feel some type of way about that. Versus if he was part of the planning process, then that makes the whole co-parent experience.
Gotcha.
I often give kudos to my children's mother because no matter what we went through, she always saw it important for me to be involved. If they had an event at the school, I was there. They needed something, I was there. She would always say, listen, Malik got this going on, and Kania's got this, or Justin got this going on. You need to do such and such and such. I was always involved in the process.
That's good.
Even though we had our tit for tat, she always saw, because we both did not have our fathers in our lives.
I'm glad you brought this
So
point up.
she
Yeah.
she
That's
saw the benefit of having. Okay, I don't want my son's experience what I went through. And same for me.
Gotcha.
I told my dad years ago. I said, "You taught me a valuable lesson." And I could hear he was pumping his chest up until I had to deflate him. I said, "You taught me how not to cheat my children."
good. Wow. Wow. That's good.
Yesterday we talked about problem solvers. Problem solvers always see problems as opportunities. That was an opportunity to show. That was a lesson in you not being around. I learned from it. So,
Gotcha. So, patience, P for patience, and we touched on that as well, being patient, being to the point that we allow ourselves to allow the process to play out. Just do your part and things get better. But also affirmation. You said something, being able to affirm your child. You led on that. There's the saying goes, when the mother gives the first birth, it's the dad that gives the second birth. Wow. Children need to be affirmed. They need to know that they matter. They need to know that dad is going to be there. How important is that? Let's touch on that a little bit.
I think it is utmost importance on that, because if you don't affirm your child, somebody else will, or media or TV or somebody negative influence will affirm them. So I think it's important that you put your thumbprint on your own child, and even to the point as you letting them know, okay, even though I'm not with your mother, it didn't work out, we're gonna co-parent, but it was not your fault that this did not work out. And letting them know, okay, you are a beautiful product of our relationship. You matter, you have value. We both gonna co-parent and make sure you are successful in life. But I don't ever want you to believe, even to the point where I apologize to my children, like, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you like I wanted to be, but it was never your fault.
Absolutely.
It was some insecurities and some things that I've done that why I wasn't there. So I don't want you to ever to think that you had something to do with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to close out. If you enjoyed those sessions, feel free to give us a call at the number listed, and you have our website. Call us because we are ready to serve. We realize this, that building families is very important, because family is the bedrock of society. When you build families, one family will affect a community. A community will affect the town. The town will affect the city, and the city will affect the nation. So we have to realize family embraces everything that we want to be. We want to be sustainable, we want to be secure, and we want to be strong. So help us build families one father at a time.